And ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this very exciting segment. And today we have some wonderful things that we're going to be talking about. And I will be introducing to you to someone who is a great personality. You would think about, all the things that we talk about, that someone has lived about 2 or 3 different lives. But it's all been done in one lifespan. I'm talking about none other than... here with me in the studio is Aarti Bajaj. Aarti, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Amishi. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So it's wonderful to have you here on the show. So just a little bit about Aarti. She is an actor, dancer, writer, artistic creator, medical sonographer, exercise enthusiast, mother, wife, and above all, a wild dreamer. Doesn't that sum it up?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct, Amishi.
And that's what you are. And from all the interactions I've had with you, even before and many times, whenever we have met, it's always been that. So it's been wonderful, knowing in all the things that you do. For all our listeners and viewers, we're going to find out about, all these things and what she does in all that time. So just as a way of intro, she is a committee member of Supercell Festival of Contemporary Dance. She's a committee member of Regional Art and Development Funds at City of Gold Coast, and artistic director at Wild Dreamer Productions, artistic director of 9 Expressions, medical sonographer, and the list goes on. And amongst everything, she has also been an Indian classical dancer at Sivanjali Kala Mandir. So, she brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the show. Aarti, first of all, you have done so much and everything like that. So if my memory serves me right, I think the last time we were together when we talked about your production, which was an award-winning production, I must say, Mira. Remember? But that time it was radio-only interview.
Absolutely, that is true. I very clearly remember, and all your support that you guys gave us, which was immensely valuable. So yes, that was the time.
And of course, I've seen the production and Mira we will, which was amazing, and that was presented at HOTA.
That's correct, Amishi. Yes, it was premiered at the HOTA in 2018 November. Then we took Mira to New Zealand over 5 shows to Auckland, and we continue to work on that project for even better and bigger collaborations in future. So you'll see Mira again soon, sometime.
And of course, once you're in the field and once you start working, you always aim for bigger and better things and move along and do a lot of things. So, even before we go into the main topic for today, one burning question: how do you manage your time? Doing so much and looking at all the things that you are doing.
There are 2 concepts, Amishi, which is very clear in my head. One is we all aging, we're all going towards our end very soon. Every day is one day gone. So, and second, there's lots to explore in this world. There's so many things that excite me, that I'm passionate about, that I feel adds to the purpose of my being. And to achieve all of that, I have to manage time, as you said. And the best way I do that is, one, stay away completely from anything that is not constructive, any conversation, human being or thing that is not conversation, that consumes my time and energy in a destructive manner. I stay away from that. And the second is, I very much stay away from the gossip mongers. So when I stay away from those 2 things and I use that time with my family, with my loved ones, and also a lot of exercising. So when I do that, I have space to create a wonderful time managed routine for myself.
And that is very full, because what you have just mentioned about the work-life balance, giving to the profession and chasing the wild dreams and being creative is very good as well, but family is there as well. So you need to have that quality time with
Absolutely, Umeshi. Something my dad always taught me, even when I was growing in the young ages, was it's great to be ambitious, but just remember throughout the journey you have those people, and especially your near family members, to be with you throughout. Because just imagine you get wherever you want to get, and then you're standing there all by yourself. You don't have anyone to share that with. So I keep that in mind, and I'm blessed to have some really close loved ones with me, because that itself is a great blessing. So I make sure that I keep that with me all the time.
And that is very, very important, as you have just mentioned. Now, okay, in the creative field, often people need solitude, to think of ideas. And from my limited experience, I have found myself to be very easily distracted. Even simple things as writing an article. If I'm writing in the middle of writing an article, if I get disturbed, that thought process goes out the window. So, how do you operate in that creative field?
Question in two parts. I agree you need solitude in order to create, but in the lifestyle that I've created for myself, with the amount of different fields that I dwell in a particular day, to find a place where I can just sit and think is usually not I'm not that I don't have that opportunity to just sit down and have time to do nothing and just think. So I create that solitude by keeping my brain always devoid of anything that kills my peaceful being inside, and that way I have that solitude brain, or thinking all throughout with me. So yes, I could be thinking what I'm going to write in an article while I'm driving, and then when I stop the car, I could probably just take 10 minutes and write a 2-pager article. That's how I work.
And that is once again very well said. And of course, when we look at creative ideas, inspiration can be, come from any place. And this can be derived from various sources. Music has been created by listening to the flow of the river, the chirping of the bird. And rhythms have been composed and created by listening to the horse's trot and the chug of the farm tractor and train over a wooden bridge. So can you share some experiences of getting any inspiration on, when you were even doing Mira, or what you were embarking upon, that some things, where you got some inspiration from, and that you have converted that idea into or incorporated that into the stage show?
Sure. Thank you for asking this question, Umeshi. It is something very important for me. And to answer this, I'll take myself right back from the age of 8, when I actually started learning Indian classical dance. I come from a background where girls from family learning any form of dance is very much frowned upon. It's not something that you appreciate. It's not like something that's been awarded because you're learning dance. But my inspiration always has been, of course, my parents when I started this journey, but also a real story of Rukshmani Devi Arundel. Rukshmani Devi Arundel is the founder of Kalakshetra in India, which is obviously a very well-known dance, temple. She was the first woman who was given the opportunity, or was asked to become the first woman president of a free India, of an independent India, and she refused that opportunity. And the way she addressed to that is, there'll be many more amazing human beings in this country who would happily take this position and do good justice to it, but there wouldn't be many who would fight for or champion for arts in this country. So I think I should choose that, because her purpose was more stronger than just passion. So for me, art, the way I see it, it's more of my purpose, and I know how strong it is, how valuable it is and no matter what walk of life you are, whether you're a doctor, engineer, athlete, mum, dad, or just a normal human being, whoever you are, art is something that is happening all around us. Unfortunately, we've taken that out completely and we've made it into little segments, like, you know, just a dance party or just up to watching a movie, or, you know, we've taken it out completely, and therefore we have all these imbalances. So whenever I create anything or I teach anything related to arts, I have that purpose in my mind. So no matter what the outcome is, if it's not making an impact, when I go and measure my actions, I don't have any hesitance to delete it all completely out of my next step, because for me, impact is more valuable than my just action or the outcome of what I do.
Now, once again, that is very well said. And now, before we go into the main topic for today, let's take a look at this video.
COVID-19, multicultural, breaking the barriers. Hang on, it's not a charity event, it's not a luncheon, it's not a dance party. What are you talking about? Yes, it is a live theatre show called Void, talking about child abduction. It is a live show which is trying to break all the barriers of language, culture, colour, and just focusing on one most important topic, which is child abduction, which could happen to anyone, and it doesn't differentiate between the race, or colour, or language. The challenge which we took last year on, and we had to postpone, cancel last year the show, but we've come back again with the help of you people, you beautiful community members who've come along to help us create a series leading up to our live performances at Hotta, where you will see your own people talking about their feelings, what they're afraid of, or their real feelings within their emotions about their kids, their children. We'll be featuring them from tomorrow, so stay tuned and let us know what you feel by coming to our show. Thank you.
Wasn't that wonderful?
Thank you for featuring that.
Okay, so now, so ladies and gentlemen, that's what we'll be talking about today, is the production Void. Okay, first of all, Aarti, would you tell us about that, how it came about and what it will focus on?
Absolutely, Umeshji. So every time we create a show, so we did Mira, as you know, the first one. Then we experimented with another kids show, which was called Hyped, and then this is a third production, which is called Void. Each time we create, when an idea comes to us, or we collaborate with a creative, with a writer, or with director, we look into the wider gap in the society, or a bigger problem which has not been addressed as much, and to our surprise, when we went out there to see, when our wonderful dramaturge Mr. Chamkor Gill told us about the script, we went out there and saw that there were literally very few movies made about child abduction, and almost none, or you could literally count on fingers, number of live performances made about child abduction. And that is where we found, and then when we went to the statistics, it's every 15 minutes there's one person that goes missing. I have 2 kids, and every time I drop them to school, subconsciously, you don't say it loud, but there is this one little thing inside where you feel, when I come back to pick them up, I hope I find them safe and sound. And that is something that's struck the chord. When we were discussing with the team, yes, we were aware of all the challenges, it is a dark topic, it is a distressing topic, it is not something that people would happily just go and bring that into their entertainment things to do list, but we took upon that challenge because, as I said, for me, purpose is more important than passion. So here we go. We took upon last year and we collaborated with Southern Cross University then, and it was going to do its premiere last year at Southern Cross University Gold Coast campus just before the lockdown started, but we just had to obviously cancel like many other shows did. And this year we've come up with the same show, and this time we're going to be premiering at the Hotter on the Gold Coast. And yeah, hoping that just like me, many others feel this is a relevant topic and they'll come and see how it feels.
And call it ignorance or whatever, but you have mentioned that, and that maybe there's not many people who are aware about child abduction, and the stats that you have just given, that is alarming. So I think this is a wonderful way of community awareness, because people don't know about it. So just touching on that, and the facts that you have just mentioned, how is that turning into the play?
So the way we have come up with this show is it's a production. You could call it as a play. It's two people's play. So the theme goes, a mother and a daughter share their birthday together. It's on the same day, and it was her fourth birthday, the daughter's fourth birthday. Mum and daughter go to the park, and that's where she gets abducted, the daughter. Today would have been her 18th birthday. What has happened in the mother and the father, or the husband and wife's personal lives in past 14 years, that is what the show is about. So one horrific incident of child abduction, what does that do to family, to at large, just the family and the society around? That's what the show is about. It's a very intense and very difficult show to create, to direct, and also to act in, because at any time it's just one person only on stage. Yes, so the first half is the story from the mother's perspective, so you will only see the mum, the lady, the woman, in the first half, and the second half it's only father's perspective. So you see the man's side, how does a man feel about the emotions. So it's just one person then. So yes, it's majority drama, but it's also interlaced with live singing and live dancing. So there will be dance, so it's not suddenly like a song comes. Of course, there is song related to the story, and the dance performances are also just taking the story forward.
Okay, so that sounds very interesting, and as you have just mentioned, that quite intense. Putting that together and making that into that creative form, takes a lot of time and effort and a lot of creative and constructive choreography, because that unless it's choreographed properly, sometimes you might miss the message that's coming out, the feelings and that emotion that needs to transpose or from that actor to the audience.
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on, I'd like to sort of know when this will take place, and how can people get involved?
So Umeshi, this show is coming to, it's going to be happening at the Hotter, which is on the Gold Coast, over 3 shows. So 3 evening shows on 3rd, 4th and 5th of June. Thursday, the 3rd is already gone. We don't have any more seats left for the 3rd, but 4th and 5th we still have some seats available. And to all the fellow listeners who are there right now listening to it, just a humble request. Come and watch this for so many reasons. Firstly, because of the message itself. Secondly, it's a production company that's run by someone like me. So it's very important. We talk about inclusiveness. We talk about, the diversity in arts. We can only make it happen for real when you, the audience, consume it just like you would go and consume any other play. So come and support locals, whether you're in Gold Coast or Brisbane or around the Gold Coast Brisbane region. Take an effort if you could. Come and watch it. I'm sure you wouldn't be disappointed. We'll try our best.
And a very wonderful message that you have just said in the last statement is, working together. So how important it is for us as a community to be united, to be, everyone supporting each other and working together.
Look, Meji, you've asked a very important question, and I would love to give the answer in a very, very frank, honest manner. Again, everything that we speak comes from our own past experiences, assumptions, and biases. So what I speak might not be true to you, the listeners, or anyone else, but this is just something that I have learned from my journey and interacting with arts at large in Australian tapestry. 39% of Australian population is CALD community, culturally and linguistically different community. It's a large number. It's almost half of the pie. Even then, if you go out there and you check the stats, 51% of large Australian arts organisation has zero representation of CALD artists. Why is it so? Is it always the other side who is not accepting, or is it somewhere? Do we take the onus of the fault upon ourselves as well? For me, I would try to repair my own self first before I, ask questions to others. And what I have seen, when I say me, it's me as in the community. How many times have we actually paid our artists to perform in multicultural festivals? How many times have we actually had a proper creative producer at an event? How many times have we actually made sure that it is not purely just to add a bling to the show, or just a opening and ending ceremony, or how many times have we actually taken care of the aesthetic of the stage, or when and how the performers will be looked after, or how will they be performing, the audience, who is looking, what is the ambience while they're performing? All of that. How many times have we given respect to our arts? Unfortunately, we all know the answer. It's always just an opening and ending ceremony kind of thing. It's always just, all right, we just need that. Is it actually making an impact? We really need to ask that. And whatever we're showing to the wider community, Australian community, are we spreading the right message about Indian arts and artists? That is what I always think about. After Meera Umeshji, I was one of the finalists as Gold Coast Woman of the Year. And it was absolutely an honour to sit amongst the other fellow finalist, entrepreneurs, and just to be in that room itself was an honour, especially after just one big event. I knew I will not win because the people that I was amongst the finalists, they were well and beyond what I had done, and truly they deserved it better than me. But when something really made sense to me that day, and that was exactly what I'm talking about, when all other names were taken, not just from the arts, all other criteria or whatever the other things, even whether people knew them or not knew them, there was a bit of a when your name's taken, everybody cheers you. It's almost like a familiarity. But when my name was taken, I still remember it was almost like yes, there was a few claps and cheering things that people would do out of courtesy, but I felt there was this question mark. Oh, who is this in arts sector? She doesn't look someone who could be in the arts. And that made me think that yes, we've created something large, but is it impactful? Have we actually infiltrated into the wider community? Is the community still thinking of us as someone who can never produce A-grade arts projects? This is what that made me change or alter or modify the path of my creative endeavors even more so. So I feel it's very important for us to take that responsibility as well.
And I think it is very, very important. And you have touched on a topic on which, we could probably talk for hours. I have, as you know, I'm involved with many community organizations. They always say, okay, the stage, we got a festival coming, so we need some performers. We ask for, well, what's the budget? What budget? We're giving them a platform. They should come and perform. I said, no. I have run groups of people. I'm promoting arts and culture, and I've done that to all my life, promoting the arts and culture. And I know what it takes for an artist to practice, to prepare, then finally to come and present. Oh, they say, all right, it's coming for once or for half an hour. Okay, we'll give him this much. It's not that half an hour that they're coming on stage for. It's what's also gone in the background. Plus, they're bringing their creative art form there, so how do you put a value on that? So unless, as you said, they have all these functions and events taking, but there's no creative director in there as well. So you just put together things, like you said, just to add to the opening or ending ceremony, or add that bling to it, as you've just mentioned. So that is just quite true. And I've seen that happening a lot of times. And I said to all the organizations that when you're organizing shows, put entertainment budget in there as well. Apply for funds, apply for funding. Say, if you don't, how are this art going to flourish? So, there are classical musical schools here. I support them. There's a Asubabu Memorial Tabla concert where, the old traditional form of music is being taught to the young kids. I've said to them, put me down as a sponsor for life. I said, every annual concert that you do for these kids, I will be there. So, we need to promote. And our people, as you mentioned, they do not promote. They like to have the show. Yeah, of course, they would like to have an artist come on the stage and come and perform. But when it comes to performance fee, that's another question. What? They ask for performance fee. Now, we'll go to someone else. So, So, yep.
Add something more to this, because when I talk about fee, it can be both tangible and intangible. It's not always necessary. Of course, if it is something that you do regularly, there has to be a monetary outcome or fee to it. But and the reason I say this, when I first started, when we created Mira for the first time, I had no option. We were an independent arts company. We started from scratch, and to just create a product, it takes hundreds of thousands of dollars. So whatever money I had that I could invest went into creating the product. And at that time, my payment to the people who came on board was that I provide them a good stage, which was hotter, provide them with good costumes, good teams. That was what I could do. Yes, I could not pay all of them. Most of them were coming on board, and they gave a lot of time, a lot of volunteer work, and majority of them were very hardworking, busy people. But for me, at that point, what was important, that I make sure that I give them the graded quality, and whatever it took to make that happen, we did. So with every project, it's important that we give something, whether it's tangible or intangible, not always just the opportunity to perform.
Exactly, and very well said. And as I have done on many occasions, we've gone and we've taken a team. Some of them as school students, so we had to pay them whatever. So it means that from our side, we've actually spent money to go and perform, rather than the opposite. So anyway, because many times if you're an artist, you also like to get the platform as well, as you mentioned. And if you're getting a good platform, you're looked after, by good costumes being provided, good training being provided, and getting that platform and that exposure, that in terms, like you mentioned, tangible and intangible as well. So that makes a sense as well. So, it's been wonderful chatting to you, and I think every time we start talking, I think we can go for so because we share so much in common, and some of the many things that we. And one of the points that you also mentioned there is being nominated and being in the room, being in presence of those high flyers and performance. I know that feeling, having been there and done that. So just being together with the right kind of people in that the room is amazing. And I think just the last point is of our community, all working together. If someone is progressing, let's help them. And if you are unable to help, at least don't hinder. That is another problem, another little problem for another day. We will divulge into that. But I know that you are many to say.
I have to say something. I really have to, but because you've touched such an amazing topic. Again, I said all our feelings towards a thing, being, or whatever comes from our previous experiences and our preconceived assumptions and biases. But one thing that I have learned is what we think always, that we just have, and yes, if you've come from overseas, you're an immigrant, so we always see the world as a small pot of resources, and we feel like, all right, this is the only pot I have, and if I share this with others, there'll be lesser part of it for me. But in all honesty, and I've experimented with it, I know for real, when you start sharing that pot, you don't get limited with your resources, or your share doesn't get limited. Instead, you start creating a bigger pot. So you'd be surprised, you'd start getting bigger portion from that resource if we start collectively sharing it and being collaborative. Because think logically, yes, you'll have more people, I'll have more people in attendance, and we'll all have bigger pot.
And once again, thank you very much for that. And as I said that, once we go into this topic, we can go for, but I think you have rightfully touched that we all need to support each other. When you talked about arts and, coming from, the Indian background, known for art over the years, provided, but right here, when you mentioned that, looking at the whole community and in the art scene, in the creative art scene, and I'm not talking about just at the bottom level, not at the grassroots level, on a slightly higher level to the platform, similar to what you're taking to, very few people from our community make it to that stage. So, I'm not even talking just Indian, if you're looking at the cold community, getting that opportunity coming up there, it's very important. So the message, out of today is that, if we can, we should support people who with that creative talent, and many times even if people don't have talent, but if they have the strong willpower and the desire to succeed, and if they're putting in the effort, let's support them. Because that's what's going to make a difference. And within a community, if we are united, if we work together and uplift each other, that's a big good message that I think one of the points you did touch on was, what message are we giving out to the wider community? So that is very, very important, that that we convey the right message, that message of unity, that message of power, that message of the great tradition and culture that we bring, the great background. We have a bank of knowledge that we can tap into.
And I could not agree more, Umeshi, because the message we send for tomorrow to the wider community is what's going to be responsible for our future, for our kids, and of course our present. We don't know, but we are making a subconscious, again, a bias in the wider community every time we show the divide amongst ourselves.
And once again, Aarti, thank you so much. It's wonderful. All the best for the show. and we'll keep in tab on how things go.
Thank you so much, Umeshi. You were amazing as always.
Thank you.